harsh on Croatia after an impressive start, but they are behind. Mario Mandzukic scored the goal that put Croatia in the World Cup final, but he has now scored the first ever own goal in a World Cup final to put his side behind. He inadvertently flicks Antonie Griezmann's curling free kick into his own net in the 17th minute. Croatia had started well, but they now face the challenge of trying to fight back. They have been behind in every knockout game, so if anyone can do this, it is Croatia. 7 p.m. World Cup final underway. We are going the World Cup final. Will it be France who win the tournament for a second time, or will Croatia be first-time champions? It should be an exciting evening. As a side note, the last 3 finals have gone on to extra time, and 2 of the last 6, 1994 and 2006, have been decided on penalties. 6:40 p.m. France and Croatia fans in good spirits. France and Croatia fans are now in the Luzhniki Stadium in Moscow awaiting the start of the action at 7 p.m. Excitement is building. Either France will become double champions, following their 1998 success, or Croatia become first-time champions. Here are some pictures of the fans arriving and in the stadium, as well as other supporters across the world. A supporter of Croatia arrives to the stadium for the World Cup 2018 final between France and Croatia in Moscow, Russia. EPA French supporters gather at the Eiffel Tower fan zone in Paris, France. EPA Croatia's supporter poses at the Luzhniki Stadium in Moscow. AFPA France's supporter waves his national flag at the Luzhniki Stadium in Moscow. AFP supporters of Croatia gather in the center of Zagreb in Croatia. EPA Indian traditional folk dancers perform to show their support to the French football team in Chandanagar, India. AFP supporters of Croatia's national football team wave from a window in downtown Zagreb. AFP people wait in front of a giant screen at a fan zone in central Nantes. AFP supporters wave French flags as they wait in front of a giant screen in central Nantes. AFPA statue monument of the 19th century rebel nobleman Ban Jelicic is covered with Croatian national colors in Zagreb. Getty Images supporters hold a huge Croatian flag in Zagreb. AFP supporters wave French flags as they gather on the fan zone on the Champ de Mars in Paris. AFP, 6:05 p.m. Teams named for World Cup final. The lineups for the 21st FIFA World Cup final are out, and unsurprisingly both managers have gone with an "if it ain't broke, don't fix it" philosophy in naming unchanged lineups from the semi-finals. Croatia's is possibly a surprise given they have gone to 120 minutes in all 3 of their knockout games, but Zlatko Delic has no doubt challenged his players to give it the raw one final time in their remarkable run in Russia. Kickoff is at 7 p.m. UAE time. 4:50 p.m. Croatia fans in party mood in Moscow's Red Square. Scores of Croatian fans took to the streets of Moscow on Sunday ahead of their country's first World Cup final appearance, cheering and waving flags in anticipation of the historic match against France. With hours to go until kickoff, 7 p.m. UAE, Croatian fans in the center of Moscow appeared to outnumber their more low-key French counterparts. That may be due in part to the fact that Croatians are so thrilled that their team has made it this far. Croatia eliminated hosts Russia in the quarter-finals and England in the semis, delighting their home country of 4.2 million people. Whether we win today or lose, Croatia is going to be on fire, Croatian fan Kristijan Olipic, from the city of Velika Gorica, told Reuters as he stood outside Moscow's Bolshoi Theater. Tomorrow don't expect anybody to show up for work. This brings the whole population together. When Croatia take on France at Moscow's Luzhniki Stadium later on Sunday, the team hopes to settle an old score with the French dating back to the 1998 World Cup. That year, Croatia's World Cup dreams were ended when France beat them 2-1 in the semi-finals before going on to win the tournament. "It's unbelievable to be in the final for such a small country such as Croatia," said 47-year-old Croatian fan Denis Papic near Red Square. "It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity." French fans were more reserved ahead of the final and seemed to be fewer in number than their Croatian counterparts. "I've been seeing a lot of Croatians. That has really hit me," said 32-year-old French fan Benjamin Haddad. "The atmosphere is very Croatian right now." Haddad could not explain why French fans were less visible on the streets of Moscow ahead of the match, but suggested the enthusiasm of the Croatians could be tied to their team's unforeseen success. "It's the first final in Croatia's history," he said. "It's a surprise for them to be here. It's an even more historical moment for them, blank, underscore, blank." 3:45 p.m. England player ratings. The public consensus was one of overwhelming satisfaction. England made their country proud in reaching the World Cup semi-finals for the first time since 1990. Having lost to Belgium in the third fourth-place match, however, they return home with 3 defeats in the tournament, so there is clearly plenty of work to be done for manager Gareth Southgate and his staff ahead of Euro 2020. A number of England players have boosted their reputation though, among them goalkeeper Jordan Pickford and defender Harry Maguire, while captain Harry Kane is poised to collect the Golden Boot unless France go goal-crazy in tonight's final. Slide through the images to see how the England squad rated, and whether they are likely to be involved when the next big tournament comes around. Jordan Pickford made the most of Gareth Southgate's decision to install him as number 1. He will dine out on his penalty save in the shootout against Colombia for some time and was a calm presence throughout the tournament. He looks set to be first choice for potentially the next decade. Reuters. John Stones' 7-2 goals against Panama was a big confidence boost for the defender, who has often been considered a weak link because of a tendency to give the ball away cheaply. Defended well although he was caught out for Croatia's winning goal. He will be in the reckoning for Euro 2020 and beyond. Getty Images. Kyle Walker 6 mixed bag from the right back turned centre back. Gave away the penalty in the opening game against Tunisia, which almost cost England dear, and was beaten to the ball by Ivan Perisic for Croatia's opener. His pace gets him out of trouble, but England may look elsewhere for a third centre back when Euro 2020 comes around. AP photo. Harry Maguire. Fantastic tournament for a player whose stock has risen sharply during the past 3 months. The Leicester City defender netted a bullet header against Sweden, was comfortable on the ball throughout and will surely be targeted by big clubs all around Europe now. His value will have gone way above £50 million. AP photo. Kieran Trippier. Another to have enjoyed a mesmeric rise in the space of a few months. His set pieces were a constant threat, he defended well, and the cherry on the cake was his free kick to open the scoring against Croatia. He should be set for a long and distinguished England career. EPA. Ashley Young 6. One of the few elder statesmen of the squad, Young did little wrong as first-choice left-wing back. Going forward he was left frustrated, however, as his ploy of cutting in on his right foot failed to deliver enough chances. In hindsight, natural left-footer Danny Rose would have given England an extra dimension, and that is probably the end of Young in an England shirt as they look to the future with the likes of Ryan Sessegnon coming through. Getty Images. Jordan Henderson 6. He did enough to avoid too many questions over whether he was worthy of a regular starting spot, but is undoubtedly short of the class of the top midfielders in the world, such as Luka Modric and Paul Pogba. Kept it simple and swung in the odd trademark early cross, but the lasting memory will now be of England's midfield being overrun by Croatia in the semi-final when they should have seen the game out. His place will come under pressure again from Eric Dyer. Reuters. Dele Alli 6. Despite his goal against Sweden, it was disappointing tournament from the Tottenham star. He looks like he finds club football easy, with goals and opportunities coming frequently, but in an England shirt he is stunted. Played deeper than he would have liked, with Jesse Lingard also in the side, and this is something Gareth Southgate is going to have to work out. On this form, far from the player reportedly coveted by Real Madrid and valued around £80 million. AE photo Jesse Lingard 7 The pick of England's midfielders with his energy and ability to create chances for himself. Scored a cracking goal against Panama and will be a mainstay in the England squad come Euro 2020 and beyond, provided he maintains his form for Manchester United. Reuters Harry Kane looks set to win the Golden Boot with 6 goals, although he was starved of decent service throughout the tournament. That 3 of the goals were from the penalty spot, 2 taps and from set pieces and the other a fluke deflection tells the story. He led the line admirably and should trouble England's goal-scoring records in future years, but like with Ali, Southgate needs to find a way to get the best from him in open play. Getty Images Raheem Sterling 5 Southgate kept faith in the Manchester City attacker after his excellent season for his club. In an England shirt though, it just doesn't happen for him. 6 starts, no goals and repeatedly the first to be substituted. He rarely looked like scoring, and if England are going to win tournaments they need to find a source of goals beyond Kane. Despite his willing running off the ball, he isn't the answer. Will be in and around this squad come Euro 2020. Getty Images Marcus Rashford 6 There's high expectations of the super-talented striker, but he wasn't able to show much of what he is capable of. Started in the first defeat against Belgium and was a regular off the bench. Arguably should have been starting instead of Sterling, although his time will come in future tournaments. Getty Images Danny Rose 6 played second fiddle to Ashley Young but buzzed around when he came on a few times and started in the dead rubbers against Belgium. He should be first-choice left-wing back when England regroup for Euro 2020 qualifying, as long as he gets enough minutes for Tottenham. Getty Images Jamie Vardy 6 Like Rashford, he was thrown into the fray for fresh legs and to seek a late goal. Made little impact, and at 31 his best years will be in the past. He can however be chuffed with his unlikely rise from non-league to a World Cup. EPA Eric Dyer 6 A regular in the qualifiers, he was pipped to the holding midfield role by Jordan Henderson. Scored the crucial penalty in the shootout against Colombia, and his versatility will see him remain in the England setup for the future. Could be an option to replace Walker at right centre-back, while he will likely face fresh competition in midfield. Reuters Trent Alexander-Arnold 6 A great experience for the youngster who will look to push Trippier for the regular right-side role. EPA Gary Cahill 6 Experienced head in a young squad, he was only used as backup and is unlikely to displace the likes of Maguire and Stones while younger options like Joe Gomez come through. Reuters Phil Jones 6 Another solid backup option, he needs to remain injury-free for a full season for Southgate to see how good he can really be. Hazard went past him as if he wasn't there for his goal in the third-place decider. Reuters Fabian Delph 6 provided some fresh legs when England's midfield tired. A jack of all trades, he doesn't stand above Henderson or Dyer in the holding role and won't displace Ali and Lingard, but will probably remain a squad member while involved in Manchester City's all-conquering side. Reuters Ruben Loftus-Cheek 6 showed some nice touches when he came off the bench against Tunisia and started against Panama and Belgium twice without influencing either match. The challenge now is to prove he is a better option than Ali and Lingard and will need to play regular club football, most likely away from Chelsea. Needs to add goals. Reuters Danny Welbeck 6 Brief sub-appearance against Belgium, Southgate decided against using his knack for scoring in internationals. Will need to fire for Arsenal to get back into the squad for Euro 2020. Getty Images Nick Pope N.A. didn't play but promising future lies ahead. Reuters Jack Butland N.A. now very much second choice behind Pickford, he will need a summer transfer to a big club to enhance his reputation. Reuters _blank 1:44 p.m. Mixed feelings for Belgium. We still have time to kill before the 7 p.m. UAE kickoff, so perhaps we should look back on Saturday's third-place playoff between Belgium and England. Belgium will be acclaimed at celebrations in Brussels on Sunday, with thousands expected to hail the team, but they will carry mixed feelings about their achievement at the World Cup. Victory in Saturday's third-place playoff over England in St. Petersburg ensured a best-ever tournament return for the Belgians, but they are likely to be long haunted by a nagging sense they might have done so much better. The so-called Golden Generation had sights firmly set on winning the World Cup and were well on course after proving their mental fortitude in a dramatic come-from-behind win over Japan and then going toe-to-toe with Brazil and beating them in the quarterfinal. A narrow semi-final defeat to France last Tuesday left them crestfallen, even though they admirably picked themselves up to easily beat England 2-0 in taking the bronze medal. "I think if we had played the final we would have won the World Cup," said centre-back Vincent Kompany, who at 32 is unlikely to have another chance in Qatar in 2022. "But third place is consolation for our supporters and a nice reward for us. We played 7 matches here and won 6 of them." Belgium's Eden Hazard celebrates with his bronze medal after the 2-0 victory over England in the World Cup third-place playoff in St. Petersburg. Reuters' Eden Hazard, the Belgium captain and scorer of the second goal against England, spoke to reporters after the match too. What he said might have Chelsea fans worried. "After 6 wonderful years at Chelsea, it might be time to discover something different," Hazard told reporters. "I can decide if I want to stay or go, but Chelsea will make the final decision. For my career, certainly after this World Cup, I'm at a moment where I might change. I will go on holiday and ask myself the right questions. Whether through circumstance or the club's reluctance to sell," keeping Hazard, who has won 2 Premier League titles, 1 FA Cup, 1 League Cup and 1 Europa League trophy during his 6 years at Chelsea, at the club last season was arguably their best bit of business. Doing so for a second successive summer would be staggering. Steve Lucking's comment on how Hazard's words may have just burst the bubble of new Chelsea manager Maurizio Sarri. _, 11:20 a.m., the countdown covering the match for us from the Luzhniki Stadium in Moscow is our very own John McCauley. As you can see from his tweet, it's no big deal. We will also have Richard Jolly providing analysis on tonight's winners, while Gary Minahan will take a look at where it went wrong for the losing side. _, 9:20 a.m., World Cup final. After 63 games of what has been an incredible World Cup, we're down to the final 2 as France take on Croatia for the right to be crowned champions of 2018. The game kicks off at 7 p.m. UAE time. Didier Deschamps is potentially 90 minutes away from a unique World Cup double. Should France beat Croatia, the France manager would join Brazil's Mario Zagallo and Germany's Franz Beckenbauer as the only men to lift the trophy as both player and coach. As Ian Hockey points out, his dogmatic approach is one of the main reasons have reached a second successive major final after falling short at the final hurdle at Euro 2016. France, bidding to add a second start to their crest following their success on home soil in 1998, have got the unanimous backing of the national staff to prevail in Sunday's final at the Luzhniki Stadium on Sunday. See if you agree with their predictions here. But they face a Croatia side that midfielder Ivan Rakitic says will be playing with 4.5 million players on the pitch, as the Balkan state attempt to win football's greatest prize for the first time in their 27-year history. France have shown glimpses of their devastating talent in patches in their previous 6 games to reach Moscow. The workmanlike performances in the group phase was followed by the evisceration of Argentina in the last 16, the masterful control of Uruguay in the quarter-finals before blunting a brilliant Belgium side in the semis. Croatia, on the other hand, have had to do it the hard way. The 3-0 win over Argentina was arguably the standout result of the group stage, but extra time has been needed in each of their 3 knockout games, against Denmark, Russia and England, with the first 2 going to penalties before Croatia prevailed. Mario Mandzukic left-fired Croatia into Sunday's World Cup final with a winner against England, while Kylian Mbappé of France has scored 3 times in Russia to propel Les Blues to the final. AFP Croatia Rakitic says he is unconcerned that Croatia have already played 90 minutes more at this World Cup than their French counterparts, while Blaise Matuidi says the French camp have been impressed with the energy levels and fitness of their opponents in reaching the championship match. Key to Croatia's chances of lifting the World Cup will be containing Kylian Mbappé. The French flyer has been one of the tournament's headline acts, allying searing pace with an ability to offer the truly spectacular. Giannicoli highlights 3 areas Croatia must master if they are to beat France in Sunday's final. Zlatko Dalic will lead Croatia into the World Cup final against France, having only taken over the job 10 months ago. Reuters' Our man in Moscow has certainly been busy in the build-up to the most anticipated match of the year. One protagonist of particular resonance with UAE football fans is the manager who will be directing operations from the Croatia dugout. Zlatko Dalic, the former Al Ain manager, had given 3 years to the UAE club, 3 years in which he helped lift them back to the summit of Emirati football, to within a penalty kick of winning the Asian Champions League. A single goal across 2 legs in the 2016 final deprived the country's most decorated club of the continent's premier club trophy, of the one title they covet above all else. "I will stay Ainawi forever," said Dalic, remembering fondly his time at the Garden City club. He was equally emotive during Saturday's pre-match press conference, saying, "Simply, this is the greatest moment in the lives of all of us." Read John Macaulay's profile of the Croatia manager here. France goalkeeper Hugo Lloris in training on Saturday ahead of the World Cup final. AP photo. France in the French camp, goalkeeper and captain Hugo Lloris attempted to portray a squad focused on the job at hand rather than one being swept away by an apparent euphoric crowd back home. Lloris insisted in the pre-match media briefing on Saturday that his team are not getting carried away by their fans' optimism, especially given the talent of their relentless opponents. "To be honest, we are in our little bubble," the Tottenham Hotspur goalkeeper said. "Of course, we do know what is happening in France. We saw the images following the semi-final against Belgium. But we are far from thinking we have reached our goal. We are going to face a high-quality opponent and they deserve as much credit as we do because they also reached the final. We need to perform at a very high level and play a perfect match to win tomorrow. So once again we are going to need a great French team to win." The Barasti Superdome in Dubai can hold up to 1,200 fans to watch the 2018 World Cup. 7 Media watching the match in the UAE. If you're planning on heading out to watch Sunday's match, we have a comprehensive list of venues in both Abu Dhabi and Dubai that will be screening the game and the promotions on offer. Read more. Profile, Zlatko Dalic, the Croatian manager on the cusp of World Cup glory who made his name at Al Ain. Extra Time podcast, Comeback Kings Croatia to come up short against Mbappé. 2018 World Cup final predictions, will it be France or Croatia who lift the trophy? Imperious France have all the tools to deliver a second World Cup trophy. France to use Euro 2016. Partake to spur them on to World Cup glory, says Deschamps. Richard Jolly, Luka Modric's place in the World Cup final with Croatia is a triumph of character. Ivan Rakitic, confident Croatia will have the energy to defeat France in World Cup final. Who? France v Croatia when? Sunday, July 15th, 7 p.m. UAE TV. Game will be shown live on beIN Sports for viewers in the MENA region.